You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today, the Giants, man, a drizzly day at Citizens Bank Park dooms the Giants as they fall to the Phillies 14-3. The Phillies looked like a bunch of kids playing backyard baseball in the rain and dominating their little brothers' friends. Only the Giants were the little brothers in this one, as Keaton Winn couldn't get out of the first inning and the bullpen had another poor showing. The Giants also failed multiple times at the plate to drive runners in with the bases loaded and less than 2 outs. Looking at you, Nick Ahmed. Yeesh, what a disaster out there. We will break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. If you're also listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed, thanks for tuning in there. However you're listening to the show, we appreciate it. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a really great job. Today's show is sponsored by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Keaton Winn couldn't get out of the first inning in this one, and that kind of says all you need to know. This game, I honestly don't know why it wasn't called earlier or delayed. Like, that rain was bad, man. Like, there were puddles all over the field. Every inning, I felt like we were having, 5-minute delays at least, like minimum, to allow the grounds crew to repair the mound, fix the infield, and this game just dragged on. It was so long, man. This game felt like it would never end, and thank God it finally did for the Giants, because, man, what a disaster. The rain really seemed to completely hinder the Giants' ability to do anything, like hit, pitch, play the field, anything in this one. More errors for the Giants in this one. They've had a ton of errors so far in Philadelphia. They're not doing their pitching staff any favors. The Phillies are a tough lineup to face. And as I said, Keaton Winn had a disaster of a first inning. The Phillies took a 5-0 lead by the end of the first, as Keaton Winn had like a career high in pitches for one inning, gave up 5 runs on 4 hits. First run scored after he loaded the bases and drilled a guy. So like, he clearly did not have it, did not have control of that splitter tonight at all in the rain. It was not good. It was not good for Keaton Winn. I mean, I really don't know why they were playing today. Like, they still had time to maybe like make this game up tomorrow in a doubleheader. I mean, they have Sunday night baseball. Maybe they could have squeezed it in before, but I'm sure ESPN wouldn't allow that to happen because of Sunday night baseball. You know what I mean? So it would be, I don't know, man. It was just, I feel like they could have found a time to make this up. I know it would have been tough to do with the Phillies on the East Coast and the Giants needing to play out there to finish out this one. That would have been tough to schedule logistically, but like, this was a disaster of a game, man. Like, that was weather you should not be playing baseball in. Like, you heard Hunter Pence saying it himself on the NBC Sports Bay Area broadcast. He said, this is not how baseball is supposed to be played. Dave Fleming said the same thing. I mean, I'll ride with Dave Fleming and Hunter Pence on this one. That's not how baseball is supposed to be played. And they made a couple points about how a lot of these guys probably aren't used to playing in the rain. Jung-Hoo Lee being one of them, because a lot of stadiums he played in earlier in his career in the Far East are domes. It's not that it rains any less over there, but it's a domed stadium, so they don't have to worry as much or at all about the elements like that. So anyways, I mean, has Keaton Winn ever pitched in a rainy game like this? Probably not. I mean, definitely not at the big league level. So tough conditions for the Giants to be out there in. But obviously the Phillies were out there in those same conditions too, and they didn't seem to have a problem tearing the cover off the ball in a few circumstances today. I mean, they scored 14 runs in this one. They now improve to 23-11, while the Giants fall to 15-19. Not what you want to be as this season finishes up, or this road trip is rounding out. I mean, you're about not halfway through, but almost at that point, and you got the Rockies coming up next, and the Giants just don't look very good right now on the road at all. I mean, this road trip has been a disaster so far. They have just the one win on the getaway day in Boston, and now a couple of losses here to the Phillies. I mean, they just look terrible, man. They really do not look very good at all at the plate or in the field. Another couple errors. The pitching staff has been not as good lately on this road trip. It seems to all be kind of crumbling at the same time. Hopefully they get back to it. I mean, I think they will. It's obviously a long season. They have plenty of time to figure this out, but hopefully they right the ship on this road trip. I mean, hopefully they're able to salvage some games before they come back to Oracle Park. I mean, it's not like Coors Field is a place that the Giants really enjoy playing. I mean, no, I don't think anyone really does. It's leads are never safe there, and the Giants aren't really an offensive team. That's not a ballpark that's built to their strengths. So a couple of issues for the Giants in this one, as Blake Sabol had to come in because Tom Murphy got injured, and as we saw earlier in the series, Pat Bailey injured as well. So now Blake Sabol, who came in today, like flew in on a red eye from Sacramento to Philadelphia, got in at 5 a.m., was catching for the Giants in the second inning after a ball kicked away from Murphy and a run scored on the play. And he was injured trying to block that ball. I think that's what the broadcast pointed out. They said that maybe when he was trying to slide to block that pitch that was in the dirt and a little tough to handle, that he maybe pulled a groin or something. That was their speculation. So obviously not doctors here, but with Pat Bailey on the concussion IL, feeling dizzy last night after he got the foul ball to the mask and had to be removed from the game an inning later. The Giants are obviously thin at catcher, but Blake Sabol came in, actually played pretty well in this one, despite the catcher's interference. I mean, he's a pretty tall guy for playing catcher, so got those long arms back there. I don't know how he doesn't get a catcher's interference call sometimes, because he is so tall, and that's kind of a tough adjustment to make. So he's also not a natural catcher, so he's got a lot working against him back there. We saw all the catcher's interferences he had last year, but he did pick up a couple hits in this one. And that's more than you can say about guys like Jorge Soler, who again went 0 was pulled for Lamont Wade Jr., who did draw a walk, and Mike Yastrzemski, who didn't do anything. So, the Giants have had a tough time getting production from the DH slot. Wilmer Flores did have a fun moment today. He did have a home run, so that was his 150th bomb of his career, and that was nice to see. But that was about the only good moment. Randy Rodriguez came in for his MLB debut, had a clean first MLB inning, no hits, no walks, no strikeouts on in that first inning, but great location on his pitches. You saw him getting up to around 97, 98 most of this outing, and that's about what you can expect from him. He's a flamethrower with a nice slider, has a changeup too. I don't know how much we'll see that at the big league level, though. That first inning was a 10-pitch inning, and I thought he was going to be done after that, but the Giants let him go back out there for not just one, but they tried to get him out there for 2 more innings, and that was a little bit of a stretch. So he's been a closer all year long in AAA, so he's not going up and down in the same game very much or at all this season, and that's a tough thing to ask a guy to do. Obviously, he needs to be able to do that at the big league level if he's going to stick, but it's tough to do in your first outing in a rainy game. So anyways, that second inning he came out, he actually picked up his first big league strikeout against Bryce Harper on a 100-mile-an-hour heater at the knees. I mean, that was a pretty fun moment for Randy Rodriguez. And then he struck out Merrifield on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball at the knees as well to end the inning, back-to-back strikeouts. So you see the stuff from Randy Rodriguez. You may have seen him in spring training as well. He does have a very live arm. That fastball has a lot of heat behind it, but he struggled to throw strikes in spring training, in prior seasons in the minor leagues. He struggled as well. And he seemed to this season throw a lot of strikes in AAA. He was able to get the ball over the plate a lot better. And so the Giants decided to give him a shot. So we've been kind of clamoring for younger players to make their debuts for the big league team. And I don't think this is quite the guy that we might have had in mind, but hey, it's good to see the youth coming up to the big league squad and having an impact. And then he did come out there for a third inning. and a couple of runs scored on a shot down the third base line. Chapman couldn't handle it with the bases loaded. It was another probably not an error type play, but Chapman, you would hope that he could make that play because he is a platinum glove third baseman, and that's what you signed him to be able to do is make plays like that. Rodriguez was done after those 2 1/3 innings, which is more than we can say about Keaton Winn today. Winn's been great all season, though. I mean, I don't really blame him for. I mean, he was pitching in really terrible conditions, just conditions that you don't pitch in ever. So I don't really blame him for this one. I think he gets a pass. Like pitching in the rain against this Phillies lineup is not something that you're going to be asked to do like really ever. So at least rain like that. I mean, that was a lot, man. That I like I said at the beginning of the show, I think this game should have been postponed or delayed or something because that was a lot of rain to make these guys play through. This game took forever to finish. It was delayed a little bit to start, but I mean, I feel like you could have delayed it again at that point. I mean, man, it was tough out there. But anyways, the Giants also had a couple issues at the plate, more than a couple issues. Nick Ahmed, as I said in the top of the show, looking at you, my guy, two ground ball double plays with the bases loaded. Not great. I mean, the Giants just can't seem to hit with runners in scoring position. They actually did do a little bit of damage in this one with runners in scoring position, more than they have lately. They did go 4 for 10 today, but they left 10 runners on base in this one, and they did pick up 10 hits. However, couldn't turn those hits and base runners into runs. They've been struggling to do that all season long, and it's this entire lineup is not producing. I mean, Jung Hoo Lee had a tough day at the plate, 1 for 5. Wilmer Flores, one of the lone bright spots. Thairo Estrada also was rewarded with his recent play at the plate, and he was moved up to number 2 in the lineup today, and it paid off for the Giants as he picked up 3 hits, an RBI, scored a run, but you know, it wasn't enough for the Giants to really do much else because nobody else was really contributing for the Giants tonight. Wilmer Flores and Blake Sable both had nice games. Wilmer Flores with the bomb. Sable picked up a couple hits. Not much else going for the Giants. Jorge Soler continues to be abysmal at the plate in this one. I mean, I don't know how he stays in the lineup between Lamont Wade Jr., Mike Yastrzemski, and Wilmer Flores. I think one of those 3 guys needs to, you know, kind of sub in and sub out with Soler until Soler figures it out. Maybe look for matchups for Soler to that are favorable to him before you put him back in the lineup because he needs to figure it out. I don't even know what to do with this guy anymore at the plate. I mean, he moved down in the lineup again as Thairo Estrada moved up. So, I mean, tough out there for the Giants. 14-3. This is the 3rd time this season the Giants have given up more than 13 runs in a game. Obviously, they have lost all 3 of those contests. Most recently, that 17-run debacle to the Diamondbacks. It's not great, man. Not great. More to break down from this one on the other side. This rain, man, it really impacted this. And we'll get more into Randy Rodriguez as well. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me from the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR 680. And Ryan, my guy, thanks for filling me in. They did rule that Matt Chapman play an error. I did think it would be ruled in error, honestly. I mean, it was a tough play to handle, but it's a play that you would expect that guy to make, or most players in Major League Baseball to be able to make, at least most third basemen. It's been tough out there for Chapman lately. I mean, this is kind of been the one redeeming quality that we've said about him, is that he's been at least solid in the field, and this road trip he really hasn't been. There's been several plays on this road trip where, I mean, I don't remember a Matt Chapman road trip in his career where he looked this bad in the field. He hasn't really been getting it done at the plate lately either. So, I mean, all of the Farhan free agents seem to be slumping right now, and it is still early. The jury can't be out on these guys just yet, and Jung-Hoo Lee can't be discredited either. Neither can Jordan Hicks. So it's been a mixed bag of results from these Farhan free agents, but Blake Snell, Jorge Soler, and Matt Chapman all really underproducing for the Giants in this one. And I mean, it's tough. It's tough when all of these guys that you brought in are expected to produce, and none of them are in any sort of real fashion. I mean, there's been spots, there's been bright moments for Matt Chapman had that one multi-home run game. That was pretty fun. And Soler has hit a few monster moonshots that, I mean, every time we're like, maybe this is going to get him going, and it never really does. The Giants have really, really, really struggled a lot in this one. And I mean, the bullpen did as well. This game struggled as well. I mean, they've been struggling all season long. March and April, they were ranked 27th in all of baseball in their ERA rank, ERA of 5.37 in March and April. And it did improve in May, 3.60 so far in this early month of May. We're only a couple days in, and this was coming into this one. So that's not including today, which obviously that ERA is going to balloon a little bit because they gave up a bunch of runs in this one too. So the Giants just can't seem to figure it out right now at all on the road. I mean, they look lost in the woods, man. This team, something needs to change. I mean, they need to have some kind of spark, some kind of life. It's tough to lose a game like this. I don't think there's a lot you can glean as to like Keaton Winn, for instance, like having a blow up game. I don't put a lot of merit into he's falling back to earth too much. I mean, obviously he had to fall off the mountain at some point in time, fall back down to earth a little bit, but I don't think he's obviously this bad. He was asked to do a lot of tough stuff today out there in that rain. And that's not something he's going to need to do every day, or maybe even ever again in his career or this season. I mean, Keaton Winn had an impossible task today, and he couldn't handle it. He couldn't get it done. Ranger Suarez also was okay today. He did have one of his worst outings of the season, maybe his worst outing of the season. One of his less great outings of the season, I should say. He gave up all three of those runs were charged to Ranger, but the Giants got to a guy who hasn't really been able to be got to this season. So if you're looking for a plus, I guess that's one. But the Phillies bullpen really did shut them down after that entirely. And the Giants continued to not be able to really stop the Phillies from scoring at all. 4 runs in that 6th inning, 5 runs in that first, 4 runs in the 2nd inning. I mean, once the Phillies were up 9-0, that was kind of all she wrote in this one. And I think we all felt that way. There's no way that this Giants offense has enough juice in the tank to be able to come from behind in a game like that. I mean, a 9-0 hole for the Giants is absolutely insurmountable. No chance that they would be able to climb out of something like that. So it's tough. It's tough. I mean, the rain really played into this one, though. I mean, the Giants, Austin Slater had a pretty cool like Superman diving catch, and then landed in the grass and did like the slip and slide, 4-foot long slide after. It was nice. I mean, nice to see him do that. It was fun. It kind of reminds you of playing like backyard baseball when you're a kid, but that's about the only good play the Giants made today in the rain, as the Phillies just seemed to be able to hit, and the Giants couldn't find their footing. And whenever the Giants hit the ball, it seemed to just kind of travel right to a Philly, and they couldn't really get any extra base hits in this one. That they couldn't capitalize in big moments when they had runners on in scoring position. It was tough. I mean, we saw the parade of the not A team for the bullpen today. White came in, Rodriguez after that, Jackson after him, Eric Miller, who has pitched a lot lately, came in this one as well, gave up a run, and Tyler Fitzgerald to close this one out. for the Giants pitched that final eighth inning for the Giants. Had a clean inning, 1 inning pitched, and his ERA is now down to 9. And we've seen Tyler Fitzgerald a few times this year, which is not something that we want to be seeing as frequently as we have. Eric Miller didn't look great, didn't look his best, had a couple walks, did give up a run, a hit. He gave up a home run today. I mean, he didn't look great, but as I said, he's pitched a lot. That inning that he had to open when he was the opener in Boston looked pretty solid, looked pretty good. So you'll take that for what it is. Jackson looked good up there. I mean, those sliders to Bryce Harper were nasty, just power slider after power slider to Bryce Harper. And Rodriguez, I feel like, was the bright spot for the Giants today. He did give up 4 runs. Only one of them was earned, however, and he did give up 2 walks. He had 2 strikeouts, and those 2 strikeouts were really impressive, man. I mean, this guy is 24 years old, young guy out of the Dominican Republic from Santo Domingo. I think he's going to be a solid piece for the Giants. I mean, anytime you have someone come up who is able to throw triple digits, who's able to touch 100, I mean, that's electric for your team. And I mean, the Giants have a few guys in the bullpen now who can do that with Eric Miller, with Rodriguez. I mean, they have some heat down there. And he's the Giants' 28th best ranked prospect according to MLB.com. And he's had a 1.69 ERA, nice, in 10 appearances in AAA, all in relief. He's been the closer down there for Sacramento. 10 strikeouts and 4 walks. Batters are hitting just 184 off of him so far. So he has some electric stuff. It's not a fluke that this guy is up here. It's going to be a long way to see what he can do and how much he can really contribute to this bullpen this year. But the Giants do need some help. I mean, they obviously, we went over the bullpen stats earlier. They have not been great this season. I mean, they're improving, they're getting better. As we've talked about in past shows, it seems like the cream of the crop is starting to rise. You know, we know who the A team is, so to speak, now with Ryan Walker and leading the way, really, and Tyler Rogers pitching really well as well. And for the Giants, I mean, the Submariner is doing work out there, throwing those frisbee sliders. He's been really good for the Giants this year, honestly, and it's been an up and down career for him with the Giants. Sometimes he's been really bad, and sometimes he's been great. He seems really locked in this season for them. He's pitched a lot as well, so obviously we didn't see him today in a big blowout loss, either of those guys, Ryan Walker or Rogers. And obviously Camilo Doval is one of the best closers in baseball, and he's not been able to be used as much as the Giants would like to use him. But Rodriguez could add another dimension to this bullpen, maybe bolster up that B team, so to speak, which so far is headlined by Luke Jackson, but they need to fill that out. I mean, Jackson looks like a solid option down there. Jelly has had a couple nice innings lately. He's kind of an option out down there too. He's thrown a lot of innings as well, though. I mean, the Giants bullpen has seen a lot of work on this road trip, and it's a lot to ask of a bullpen that's been pretty bad so far this season. I mean, it's a lot of weight to put on them. Blake Snell, obviously having to skip his starts and have bullpen games is not ideal for a bullpen that isn't really pitching their best ball. Puts the Giants in a tough position, especially for a team who is not hitting. All these things are kind of recipes for disaster for the Giants. And it was nice to see Rodriguez pitch. I think he pitched okay. I mean, he started missing his spots later as he stayed in longer, but as we said, he hasn't gone up and down in a lot of games this year. It was raining. I mean, I'll take the first 2 innings of what we saw from him and kind of discount the third one. I mean, I think he gets a pass for striking out Bryce Harper the way he did. That was really impressive, man. And Whit Merrifield too, who's a great hitter in his own right. And I mean, he's 24 years old, 6 feet tall, and only listed at 166. He looks a little bit thicker than that, I think, though. And he's only allowed 13 home runs and 261 in 2/3 career minor league innings. I think he's going to be a contributor for the Giants bullpen. We'll see how it pans out, though. It was nice to see him have the performance he did. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. We got to take a quick break, a little bit more to go over in this one before we wrap up the show. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Spring training is officially over and baseball season is underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks entry today. PrizePicks has something for every sports fan, from baseball and basketball to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick Shohei Ohtani, Connor McDavid, Jude Bellingham, and probably should go with Anthony Edwards. Did you see what he did today? 43 points, a playoff career high for him. Oh my man, Anthony Edwards is turning into Kobe Bryant right before our eyes. But you can take all those guys all in the same entry. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, timeout. We got to pause here to talk about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that, but there's just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock, and there's so much to get. Unique stickers you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constant changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. And there's always new timed events that will help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you need or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now for free on the Google Play or App Store. Game on. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. The Giants, a bad game today. 14-3 loss in Philadelphia in a torrential downpour that just was not very fun to watch, honestly. This game might have been the most boring, unwatchable Giants game of the year. And how weird is it that it seems like I was having flashbacks to Flem and Hunter Pence being on the broadcast last season when there was a big rainstorm. I don't remember where they were playing, but they were bringing out the tarp in the middle of the game, and someone got swallowed up by the tarp, and Hunter Pence did like a play-by-play of the guy, the ground screw guy, getting swallowed by the tarp and trying to find his way out. And it was pretty funny, man. That was a funny moment from last season, and I feel like Hunter Pence and Dave Fleming might be the ones to blame for the Giants having to play in this torrential downpour today. I mean, the last time that I remember them having like a weird rain game was then as well. So maybe every Hunter Pence, Dave Fleming game, you gotta expect a little bit of rain. It's I don't know, man. Take it for what it's worth. It's a tough loss. Obviously, you never want to see a 14-3 loss, but it is a super rainy game and against a team that seemed to play a little bit better in the rain, a lot of bit better in the rain than the Giants knew how to play. And I don't really think you can glean too much about any one individual player's performance from today in a negative way. You know what I mean? Like if Keaton Winn doesn't have it and can't find the splitter in the rain, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Johnny, I see you, my guy. Soler batting he has just been terrible. 205. Yeah, it is sad, man. Like this guy has been expected to contribute and he's becoming unplayable. As I said earlier in the show, I think that the Giants probably need to figure something else out. I mean, you got Wilmer Flores, Lamont Wade Jr., Mike Yastrzemski, all guys that can cycle in and play the DH when Yaz isn't in the field or Lamont Wade isn't in the field. You can have one of them DH if Wilmer is out there playing first base and you got Lamont in right, or however it's working out. You know, you can piecemeal those three together to have a DH from one of those three. I think you got to start thinking about benching Soler at this point. I mean, pinch hitting for your DH is not what you want to see at all. Concern for the Giants going forward, at least from the catcher position, I think it's a big one because Pat Bailey is a huge plus for them back there. And Tom Murphy isn't the best defensive catcher, but he's better than Blake Sable, I'll tell you what. So Blake Sable, I don't think is really the solution back there at catcher long-term for the Giants. I mean, his bat is nice. I do like having Sable back up for the bat. You saw him pick up 2 hits today, but I don't think he's the solution, the everyday catcher going forward. If Murphy is hurt and he can't go, that's going to be concerning. The Giants are going to need to figure it out. I think that they need something. They need something. We got to bring somebody up or sign a guy at this point. I mean, that might be an option for the Giants with all the injuries that they have at the position. So something to watch for as we move forward. The Giants, another loss on this road trip. They only got 1 win so far, and it is not going well. Who knows if they'll even be able to get a win before they leave Philadelphia. I really hope they can, man, but it's not looking great. Thanks for tuning into this one. If you stuck with us all the way through that really, really, really unfortunate, not fun to watch rain game, and then you stuck all the way through the Locked On Giants postcast, salute to you, man, because that was a long haul. So shout out all of you everydayers who are tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you next time. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Peace.